Welcome back, friends. Today we will discuss about the ecosystem structure and life cycle. So first of all, I would like to explain here the classification: the kingdom, Plantae, class, Polypopsida, subclass, Equisetaceae, order, Equisitales, family, Equisetaceae, and genus Equisetum. So Equisetum, also called as the living fossil, because only one genus is remaining on the earth, and this is the habit of or habitat of Equisetae. So the plant body of the Equisetum has an aerial part of underground, rhizome part. The rhizome is the perennial. Perennial means more than 2 years. Then horizontal, branched, and creeping in nature. The aerial part is herbaceous, which is green in color, and usually annual, means single year complete their life cycle. Then majority of the species are small and size range in between 15 and 16 centimeter in height. Okay, so and the 1 minute 2.0 centimeter in diameter. Then Equisetum generally grow in wet or damp habitat, means moisture conditions required for the growth of the Equisetum, and the particularly common along the banks of streams, means near the streams or irrigation canals. Equisetum debili and Equisetum plasteri is the example. However, some species are adapted to xeric conditions. For example, Equisetum arvensi, means xerophytic conditions occurs, which is occur in the low water. Then you can see here the strobili, which is the fertile part. This is the nodes and internodes. The rhizome bears the axis bears the node and internode, and this is the branches. Okay, so this is the tuber, which is also vegetatively reproduce, advantageous roots and rhizomes. So you can see here the branches and the strobili is also takes parts in the fertilization. Some species of the Equisetum are indicators of the mineral content of the soils, means which they grow. Some species accumulate gold about 4.5 once per ton dry weight, means we can isolate the gold from the some Equisetum species, thus they are considered as the gold indicator. Means in the soil the gold particle are occur in very high condition, so Equisetum occurs that conditions or grow in that condition. The structure, the first of all, the sporophytes plants body Equisetum differentiated into stem, roots, leaves, and okay. So stem Equisetum has two part: perennial, underground, much branched, rhizomes, and an erect, usually annual aerial shoot. We also describe, so perennial means more than 1 year, then underground part, which is much branched, rhizomes, and an erect, usually annual aerial shoot, means rhizome also occur inside the underground, and annually means every year they bears shoot or stem. The branching is the monopodial. The branching is monopodial, means mono means single, shoots are differentiated into nodes and internodes. Node and internode, you are very well known about the node and internode. Some shoot are profusely branched green, chlorophyllous, means chlorophyll are present inside some shoots and purely vegetative. The other are fertile, branched, brownish in color, means achlorophyllous, means chlorophyll are not present, and have terminal strobili. Terminal means upper terminal side or upper end side of the shoot bears the strobili. The underground rhizomes and the aerial axis appears to be articulate or joint. Articulate means to joint due to the presence of distinct nodes and internodes. Okay, the rhizome also occurs nodes and internodes. Then externally, the internode have longitudinal reeds. Internal reeds and furrows means some cleavage or some breaks are occur inside the uh, underground rhizomes. Internally, they are hollow tube-like structure. Okay, you can know tube-like structure. The reeds of the success internode alternate with each other and means one node internode, then node internode, node internode. Leaves are normally of the same number at the reach of the stem. Okay, so you can see here the TS of equisetum stem. The outermost layer is the epidermis, which is covered by the cuticle. Cuticle is the plastic-like structure which are also prohibited the transpiration and occur all over the stem. Then next layer is the hypodermis, which is next to the epidermis. Then again cortex. Cortex is the large parenchymatous cells are present here. Then endodermis. Endodermis, which is the single parenchymatous layer, cells layers are occur inside the TS of equisetum stem. Then next layer is the pericycle. Then phloem and xylem. You are very well known about the phloem conducting the food and xylem conducting the water. Then central is the pith cavity, means empty space. You can see here the pith cavity. Then this is the vascular canals. Vascular canals means vessels are present such as the phloem and xylem, and then canal cavities, which is also present next or next to the vascular canals or next near to the pith. This is the microscopic image of TS of stem equisetum. Then internal feature of the stem. So in TS of stem, the equisetum appears wavy in outline and rich and furrow. The epidermal cell wall are thick. Means the epidermal cell of the TS of equisetum stem is very thick, cutinized or cuticularized, means covered by the cuticle, and have the deposition of silicaceous materials, means silica are deposited inside the epidermis. Silica means which are protective for plant, the herb eating animals such as the herbaceous animals are eating to equisetum. They are not eating by this silica material. Then stomata are distributed only in the furrows between the ridge. Furrows means you can see here the furrows is deep section, like the stomata also occur inside the furrows between reeds, and hypodermal sclerenchymatous zones is present below the reeds, which may extend up still in equisetum gigantum. The cortex is differentiated into outer and inner region, means cortex having two region. This is the internal region and this is the outer region. Then the outer cortex is chlorenchymatous. Chlorenchymatous means chloroplasts are present inside the outer region, and inner region chlorophyll totally absent. while the inner cortex is made up of the thin walled parenchymatous cells. Thin walled parenchymatous cells. There is a large air cavity in the inner cortex corresponding to each furrow and alternating with the reeds known as vascular canals. Means vessels are present inside the near to the cortex corresponding to each furrows. The new leaves and branches of equisetum are produced by apical meristem. Apical meristems. So you can apical meristem, which is the upper tip portion, which is also growing, having the capacity to grow. However, most of the length of the stem are due to the activity of the intercalary meristems. Means meristems are divided and produce intercalary meristems, and which are again produced near the node, internode, and above growth of the plant, located just above the each node. The cavity of the intercalary meristems causes rapid elongation of the inner nodal region. Means intercalary meristems means calary. Intercalary means inside the meristematic cells causes rapid elongation, means to growth of the inner nodal region. So the vascular bundles are arranged in the rings which lies opposite to the reeds in the position and alternate with the vascular canal of the cortex. Okay, so vascular bundles are conjoint, means vascular are joint in each other, then collateral and closed. It's very close to the every xylem and phloem. In the mature vascular bundles, the protoxylem is disorganized to form carinal cavity which lies opposite to the ridge. Okay, so protoxylem produces xylem, which is the disorganized from carinal cavity which lies opposite to the ridge. The vascular bundle remain unbranched until vascular bundles, xylem and phloem bundles remain unbranched until they reach at the level of node. So the vascular bundle totally unbranched towards the nodes. When they attach to the nodes, the nodal region, each vascular bundle trifurcates, divided into three parts. Means every xylem and phloem means vascular bundles are trifurcates, means divided into three parts in the next. So you can see here the epidermis, cortex, chlorenchyma, sclerenchyma, grows, reeds. Okay, so this is the grows and this is the reeds. Then endodermis, xylem, phloems, carinal cavities, and vascular bundles. This is the graphical representation of the TS of equisetum stem. So the xerophytic features. So how many xerophytic features are showing by the equisetum? The first is the ridge and furrow in the stem, which is also special xerophytic features we can observe in the cactus and other these plants. Then deposition of silica in the epidermal cell. Then silica deposition also occurs inside the xerophytic plants. Then sunken stomata. Sunken stomata means always closed stomata, open due to night and closed due in the daytime. Then sclerenchymatous hypodermis. Then sclerenchymatous hypodermis means sclerenchymatous or silica deposition and hard tissue which are present in the hypodermis. Then reduced and scaly leaves means scaly and reduced means very less leaves are present on the equisetum. And the photosynthetic tissue in the stem. Photosynthetic tissue occur inside the same stem in only in the xerophytic conditions. So hydrophytic characteristics of the other hand, you can observe the well developed aerating stem like carina canal and vascular canal and central pith cavity. This is the characteristics of the hydrophytes, which are also commonly occur inside the hydrophytes. Then reduces vascular elements. Okay, so Roots. So roots is the underground part. The primary root is the ephemeral. The cylinder adventitious roots arises endogenously at the node of the stem. In TS means transverse sections of the root shows epidermis, cortex and stele, same as like the TS of stem. From periphery to the central, the epidermis consists of elongated cells with or without root hairs. Means epidermis consists of elongated cells, root hairs with or without root hairs, means root hair may be present or may be not present. The cortex is extensive cells of the outer cortex often have thick walled, then sclerenchymatous, and those of the inner cortex and thinner parenchymatous. This sclerenchymatous cells also present and thinner parenchymatous cells also present inside the roots. A large metaxylem element is present in the center of the stele and the protoxylem stands lie around it. So the space between the protoxylem group is filled with phloem. There is no pith. Means the space between the protoxylem group is filled with phloem. There is a no pith present inside the root. So you can see here the TS of root: vascular strands, epidermis, which is the outer layer, then cortex next to the layer, the ear cavity also present. You can see here this is the central cavity, also called as the vascular strands. Okay, so pith are totally absent. Okay, so root hairs may be present or may not be present. In this situation, root hairs are present. This is the root hair present in the epidermis or epidermal layer, then cortex and the endodermis. So this is the TS of root of the equisetum. Then leaves. The leaves of equisetum are small, simple or scale-like. Okay, we are also discuss about the xerophytic condition. They showing the xerophytic condition, that's why the small, simple, scale-like leaves are present. And isophilous. Iso means same leaf structure are present. They are attached to each node, not in the internode, united at least for a part of the length, and thus form a sheath around the same stem. Okay, the sheath has free and pointed teeth like structure. You can see here the epidermis, vascular bundle. This is the epidermis, vascular bundles, central xylem and phloem, and the stomata for the gaseous exchange. Then mesophilic cells, which is green in color. Mesophile means middle cells or middle leaf cells. Then intercellular spaces. Intercellular spaces for gaseous exchange through stomata. Okay, so the leaves are equisetum are very small, simple, like isopropyl, isophilous. They are attached to each node, then united at the least for part of the length, and thus form a sheath around the stem. The sheath has free and pointed teeth like tips. The number of leaves per node varies according to the species. Means this is the depend on equisetum species, means how many leaves are present on the nodes. This is the specificity or depend on species. The species which narrow stem leaves few leaves, means 2 to 3 leaves in equisetum scrapoids, and those with the thick stem have many leaves. For example, up to 14 leaves in equisetum chapery. The number of leaves at the node corresponds to the number of reeds. On the internode below, the leaves do not perform any photosynthetic function, and their main function is to provide protection to young birds at the nodes. Means leaves also do not perform photosynthetic function, and their main function is to provide protection to young bird at the node. Means bird are occur inside the node, and these nodes protect by the leaves. Okay, you can see here the TS of leaves: epidermis, vascular bundles, stomata, and intercellular spaces and mesophilic cells. So, life cycle. The sex organ of the ecuvisitum. The first is the antheridium. A monoecious species, antheridia, develop later than archegonia. Means monoecious means sex organ present on the different plants is called as the monoecious species. Antheridia develop later than archegonia. Means first archegonia develop and then antheridia develops. Antheridia is the male sex organ and archegonia is the female sex organ. So they are of two types: projecting types of the embedded type. Then antheridia first appears to the lobes of the gametophytes. Gametophytes means the plant condition where the gametes or male or female gametes are present. The periclinary divisions on the superficial antheridial initial. Periclinary means with as like the clockwise cell division of the superficial antheridial initial. Superficial antheridial initial means a single cell is responsible for division to produce antheridium. Gives rise to jacket initial and an androgonal cells. So one cell divided into two cells and one covered by these cells, and inner cell behave as the androgonal cell, which is produce the androcytes or spores, and the jacket initial divides anticlinally to form single layer jacketed repeated division of androgonal cells form numerous cells which on metamorphosis and produce spermatids, anthrozoids. Spermatids means sperm or anthrozoids. Anthrozoids means flagellated spores which are responsible for fertilization. So the anthrozoids escapes through the pores created by the separation of the apical jacketed cells. Mean apical jacketed cells ruptures and spores will be released. The apical part of the anthrozoids is spirally coiled. Means apical part of the anthrozoids which is the spirally coiled, whereas the lower part is to some extent expanded. Okay, so archegonia. Okay, archegonia is the superficial cell also responsible for production of the archegonia. In the marginal meristem acts as an archegonial initials. Means here also the single superficial cell also responsible for production of the archegonia or archegonium initials, which undergoes periclinary division. Periclinary and anticlinary, you can understand, form a primary cover cell and an inner central cell. The cover cell by two vascular division at right angle to each other form a neck. The central cell divides transversely to form primary neck canal cell and ventral cells. So you can see here this is the venter, the neck is the upper elongated portion. Two neck canal cells are produced from primary neck canal cell, while the ventral cells by transverse division forms the ventral canal cell and an eggs. Then eggs is the central, can see like that. So this is the venter neck canal cell, and here the egg cells. Okay, so at maturity, an archegonium has projecting neck comprising of 3 to 4 tiers of neck cells arranged in 4 rows. Okay, means 2 neck canal cells of unequal size, and ventral canal cells, means this is the ventral, a basal upper solemn part, and an eggs at the base of the embedded venters. So you can see this is the single superficial cell or antheridial initial cell. Then this cell produce or divide jacketed initial cell, then androgonial cell, then androgonial cell divides and produce androcytes, and jacketed initial cells produce and cover the jackets. And the finally you can see here the small spherical anthrozoids or sperms are present inside the inner side of the jacketed layers. And the finally you can see this is the multiflagellated or polyflagellated spores. So development of antheridia, successive stages in the development of antheridium, which is the mature antheridia, and the finally is the anthrozoids. Anthrozoids, which are the polyflagellated, and locomotory flagella is the locomotory organ. Then archegonia also develop same as like the antheridia, but only single cell is responsible for production of the central cell. Then primary cover cell divides and produce neck cells. Then ventral cells, the ventral cells divides the primary neck canal cells. Then you can see here the eggs, the central is the eggs, ventral cells, and neck canal cell. They again divides and produce eggs, ventral canal cell, neck canal cell, and finally you can see here the central of the venter. This is the egg cell, ventral canal cell, and neck canal cell, and neck cell. This is the ostiole when sperms enter inside the neck through the neck canal cell and reach towards the eggs, and fertilization takes place. So this is the development of archegonia, successive stages in the development of archegonium, that is the mature archegonium. Okay, so the finally fertilization. Water is essential for fertilization. For the sperms released to the androcytes, and these sperms require to the water for locomotion from one location to towards the another location or archegonia. So the gametophyte must be covered with thin layer of the water in which the motile anthrozoids is the motile for because they have present flagella, they swims to the archegonia. Then anthrozoid swims towards the archegonia. The neck canal cells and ventral canal cells of the archegonia disintegrate to form passage for the entry anthrozoids. So one passage will be produced by the archegonia, and the anthrozoids enters through passage towards the egg cells. The many anthrozoids pass through the canal of the archegonium, but the only of the fuse with the eggs, means anthrozoids fuse to the eggs. The diploid zygote is formed, means one haploid anthrozoids and one haploid eggs fuse each others and produce diploid zygote, which is the 2n, means double set of chromosome. Generally more than one archegonia are fertilized in prothallus, means in prothallus more than one archegonia are present. So embryo, after the fertilization, the embryo is the mother cell of the next sporophytic generation. So you can see the sporophytic generation. In that sporophytic generation, embryo is the mother cell, means from embryo the sporophytic generation will start. Unlike most of the pteridophytes, several sporophytes develop on the same prothallus, means fertilization takes place and several sporophytes develop on the same prothallus. The first division of the zygote is transversely division of the zygote. This result in an upper epibasal cell and lower hypobasal cell. The embryo is therefore exoscopic, where the apical cell is deviated outward. No suspension is formed in equisetum. The epibasal and hypobasal cells then divide at right angles to the ogonial walls, and as a result a tour cells, which is the quadrant stage. Quadrant stage means one cell divided into four cells. This is also called as a tour or quadrant stage. This is the established. All the four cells of the quadrant are of different size and shape. The four cell embryo undergoes subsequently division, and the future shoot apex originate from the largest cell, and the leaf initial from the remaining cells of the quadrant of the epibasal hemispheres. So you can see the stages of development of embryo within the venter. So this is the venter, and quadrant 1 2 3 4 4 cells or quadrant stage after fertilization, and then again produce cell divisions takes place and produce roots, foot, you can see here. So this is the foot and root, and the upper is the archegonium, then leaf sheath and stem, and finally the young sporophyte developing into gametophyte, means sporophytic stems are bears from the developmental stage of the embryo. The later, the root grows directly downward and penetrate the gametophytic tissue to reach the soil of substratum. Soil or substratum, which is the base, or where the gametophytic attach to the this is the substratum. A number of the such sporophyte may develop from a large mature gametophytic if more than one egg is fertilized. So this is the graphic life cycle of the equisetum. You can see this is the gametophytic region and this is the sporophytic region. So in that gametophytic region, the one spores produce male gametophyte and female gametophyte. Then gametophytic generation again produce antheridium, means male gametophytic produce antheridium, female gametophyte produce eggs. Then antheridium again produce sperms, and the eggs fuse each other and fertilization takes place. Then fertilization produce zygote, which again produce young sporophyte. The young sporophyte again produce sporophytic plant, then again sporangiophore. Then sporangiophore again produce spore mother cell, which are also responsible for production of the spores. This is the reduction division. Reduction division takes place at the stage of the spore mother cell. So this is the overall life cycle of the equisetum. You can see here also, this is the very good photographic. You can see here the sporophyte, the fertilization, after fertilization gametophyte again produce sporophyte, then branch, the male and female branch, the male, the rhizomes, roots. Okay, so strobili produce sporangiospores. The sporangiospores, sporocytes undergone meiosis produce Then meiosis takes place, produce spores. Spores again produce antheridium and archegonia. Archegonia produce eggs, antheridia produce sperms. They again fertilize. Then this is the whole life cycle of the equisetum. Thank you.